So put your hands together for finance manager and coach at the Architect Group of Companies and one of your own UCW alumni, Mikaela Magalong. Thank God on the page and yeah, well, I got Ellen where you got someone take two straddle the table and hands over it later. Right. Ellen Jerkin. And then a financial advisor partner at State Pacific. Put your hands together for Laurent Munier.
Sorry.
You want to be in the middle or? Yeah, you want? Oh, I'm gonna go miss. Let's do it. Does anyone need water? Do you where's some? That's your water already. Is this your water?
Beer?
I don't have one yet.
You don't have water? Okay. So I'm here to serve the process. Guys, there's a switch. I got it.
Can you hear me, Elton?
So Laurent said that he would for his own drink, but here we are, and I'm doing it for that. So the reason I'm doing that is because, Laurent, you work with pretty well-off people with properties and such and successful businesses, and I don't want you to forget me. Okay?
Let's get you there.
Okay, thank you. That's great. So just to begin, like in starting off, we have some questions that we want to ask you, but the question that I'm really curious about as a start is this whole room of people, there's a lot of people who have taken finance at UCW and have interest in finance and careers in finance. Why did you both pursue careers in financial planning and financial management? For both of you.
You go ahead.
So I fell into this career by accident. My previous life was much different. And so I built a couple of big tech startups. There were some of the larger websites here in Vancouver that were promoting nightclubs and events and concerts and things like that. And so it was great. I made a lot of money, but when that was finished, I didn't have a lot of money. So a lot of money came into my hands, not a lot of money stayed in my hands. And then so when that was done, I started to actually just do my own kind of financial research and how do I save money, what do I invest in, and things like that, and found out about a couple of different strategies that are a little bit alternative to help to grow wealth for people, and basically went looking for somebody who could set these things up for me, found the guy who's now my business partner, and then we started the company. And so that's how this all started. It was kind of by accident, and now it's something that I love doing. I'm very passionate about it. I think everybody really should take care of their finances. I think it's a very, very important thing to do. It's not taught in a lot of places. Like, you guys are in a very special situation. If you think of, generally in Canada, most people go to school. They'll go to elementary school, they go to high school, maybe they go to college or university. So out of all of those people, who gets any financial education, right? People are graduating university, political science, no financial education. Doctor, no financial education. Engineer, no financial education. Scientist, no financial education, right? So they've gone through all of this. The only people that get financial education are people who specifically take business and finance courses, or maybe even accounting. Other than that, nobody gets it. And you have to learn it on your own, which is kind of crazy because money is such an important part of your everyday life. Every minute of every day it matters. When you step outside of the house, you have to spend money. You got to take an Uber, you're going to buy a coffee, you take the bus, you're going to buy some shoes, you're going to print a resume. Even printing a resume is 50 cents. You need money to do that. If you want to live in a house, if you want to live in an apartment, if you want to get clothes, you want to buy food, every single thing that you do outside of your house costs money. But nobody teaches you how it works. Nobody teaches you where it comes from. Nobody teaches you how to get it. Nobody teaches you how to keep it. Nobody teaches you how to grow it, right? So it's crazy. So anyways, roundabout way of saying that I came to do this by accident.
And you see the value and power of money.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Mikaela, same questions.
Thank you. it's such a wrong decision to let him speak first. He kind of tell everything that I want to tell.
Go, go, go.
But yeah, my story is that I've been in finance and accounting all my life, but in a like kind of a different perspective. I work for corporate. I work for CFO, the C-suites, like trying to help the conglomerates earn more money. So somebody introduced me financial planning and financial advisory, and then it just suddenly clicked to me. It's like, you're right. The fact that I can help people earn and save money, individual, that I can see really the impact, that's how I love it. So that's why I'm here. So yeah.
Amazing. And that's like what you're saying. And there's also what I hear reflecting on Laurent saying, the fact that these conversations are actually happening. You're part of the university. I know you're an alumni. You've gone to school already. Now you're done. But they're continuing to facilitate your success, which is another way of saying they care about you. They actually want you to do well. And it's so rare in my experience that there's organizations that actually value the humans. And then both of these folks that are here are sharing their time and their knowledge because they also want to see you succeed. So as a foundational line moving forward, it's like, oh, know that there are people who care about you and do it well. So that's fantastic. So Mikaela, I want to keep asking you questions. When we talk about the idea of unlocking financial freedom and being financially free, there's so many pieces that you can become very overwhelmed, right? Like, where do you start?
Right.
And so that's the question is like, where, for folks, especially folks who are new to Canada, where do they start?
Great question. I would say to start financial freedom or financial wellness, it's kind of a long term and a long. So unless you win a lottery, you can be financially free tomorrow. But it's a long term process. So to start, it could be really overwhelming. So I'd say if I would probably be advising people that is really relating to me. So by the way, a little bit of introduction. Yeah, I'm an alumna. I've just been here for 2.5 years. But the fact that the Canadian financial system is so wonderful, I just so in love, and I just started studying it. So first things first, you gotta learn how to demystify the complicated Canadian financial system. So can I get a raise of hand for those who are less than 4 years here? There's a lot. So we have a different financial system back home. So even there's similarities, this is a different paradigm. It's so complicated. So I'd say start from there, learn the concepts, research, ask professionals. Don't be afraid to ask professionals. They are not immediately getting your money because it starts from there. So with the financial literacy and knowledge, you can go everywhere. And then once you obtain this knowledge or few concepts together, bits and pieces, you gotta sit with your family or sit for yourself and then kind of set financial goals. So you start from there, okay? And different things and there are different kinds of financial goals, sir. There are short-term financial goals, there are medium-term financial goals, and there are long-term financial goals. So set financial goals. That's very important. It's like driving to Toronto. You don't know where you're going. Unless you pin your destination, you will not go anywhere. So I'd say tip number 2, set your financial goals. And then number 3, I'm going to talk about very financier. You got to create your budget, okay? Not a lot of people love it. Not a lot of people want to face the fact that, I don't even have money at the end of the month. Who among here creates budget? Wow. Who among here follows the budget? Yeah. That's another question, right? So yeah, create the budget and please try to, if you have a good budget, you try to implement it. And I think I can sit here forever and talk about how you can start, but I think I'll wrap up with point number 4. I'd say one of the greatest advice that I got from my mentor is that savings won't make you rich, okay? You gotta save to start, but it won't make you rich. you got to save and invest it wisely. So you got to choose what your investment is best for you. You got to learn all these things. And I think as a start, it's a good one.
That's great. So I said there's lots to unpack there, right? When you're talking about understanding the Canadian system, budgeting, setting goals, and what was the last one again?
Save and invest.
Save and invest. That's a lot of things. So all those headings already has a lot of stuff to unpack underneath it. And so I'm going to come back over to you, Laurent. There is so much information, right? There's so many videos. There's I've heard you reference TikTok before. There's YouTube videos, how to get rich. And then you also have all these financial companies who want your business. I imagine even you and Mikaela are going to have different perspectives on investments. How do you wade through what's good and what's bad information? Who do you trust? Your turn.
That's a really good point, actually, is there is so much information out there, and a lot of the information actually conflicts. This video will say do A, B, C, and this video says do D, E, F, and this video says don't do A, B, C, it's really bad, only do X, Y, Z. And you know what? Maybe they're all correct in their own way, right? So I think in order to filter through all of the stuff and to cut through the chaos, what Mikaela said, Mikaela. What Mikaela said, I think, is the most important thing. Set your own goals. So the number one thing that we do when we want to plan with somebody is we want to know your goals. That's the number one thing before anything, before any numbers. It doesn't matter how much is in your bank account. It doesn't matter anything. If you don't know what you want, I don't know if I can help you, right? So when we talk about goals, we talk about personal goals, financial goals, and career goals, right? Like professional goals, right? And generally we're looking, there, like what she was saying, there's short-term, medium-term, long-term. When you're just starting, start with like, what do I want to do in the next year to 2-3 years, right? Then don't worry about what's going to happen 10 years from now. Worry about what's going to happen next month, right?
Yeah.
Those are the first kind of goals to get to. Write them all down, because goals in your head is dreams. Goals written down, at least you've started to make it concrete and you can like take some steps towards it, right? So that's the number one thing to do, is take the goals. Then when you have your goals, then you can decide what advice do you want, right? Because again, you guys had to choose which university do I want to go to, which course do I want to take, which whatever, right? Which university you go to, which course you take. You could have gone to UBC and you could be a dentist. You could go to BCIT and be a welder. You could go to SFU and be a language teacher. So all of them went to university. All of them took courses. If you want to do finance, don't go to SFU and do language courses, right? So you have to know what you want to do. So when you have your goals, then you know what you want to do. And it will cut out the other stuff, because you say, okay, well, this video doesn't talk about what I want. And then you go do that. I think some really good basic first books that you guys could read that will work in any situation, in anywhere in the world, whether your banking system or investment system is different from Canada or not. I think a really good one that everybody should read as their first one is The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a very old book, and it works. You can actually, if you just Google Richest Man in Babylon, free PDF, you can just get it for free. But you should pay the author. All right, so I think that's definitely a good place to start. He talks about, number one, earn some money, because you can't do anything in the finances unless you're earning money. Yeah. Number two, save some money. Number three, where do you get advice, right? Take advice from people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Don't take advice from people who don't know what they're doing, right? So if you're sitting at a coffee shop and this guy sits here in the coffee shop all day and does nothing, don't listen to his advice on money. Probably doesn't know what he's doing. Listen to somebody who knows what they're doing, right? And then don't lose money is another big one. So those are kind of some big things. I think also what didn't get mentioned, so saving and investing is important, but I think right now, for in your guys' situation specifically, the number one most important thing that you can do for your own financial life and your own financial freedom is make as much money as possible, right? Don't worry about what am I investing in. You already did invest. You invested right now, and you spent money and you spent years and time to get your degree and to get your MBA. Live off that fruits of your, like, execute on that. Go get a job and try to make as much as you can. Go start your own business and try to make as much as you can. Going from $0 a year to $100,000 a year is a way bigger effect than if you invest in this stock and made 5% and you invest in this stock and made 7%. Who cares? Go from 0 to 100. That is such a bigger deal. Go from 100 to 250. Go from 250 to $1 million. That's what's going to get you there, especially right now. Once you're making that money and you have a budget and you're spending less than you make, then that money then can go and be your savings and your investments. But right now, I think the number one thing you can do is figure out, how am I going to go make $100,000 tomorrow? And then when you make 100,000, how are you going to make 250,000? And when you make 250, how are you going to make 500? Those are going to be your biggest jumps forward, right? And don't spend too much time thinking about, you know, should I invest in Microsoft or should I invest in Amazon? Like, what's the difference? This one will make, who cares? Invest in yourself. You've already invested in yourself. Use that.
I love that line, invest in yourself. Like that you've invested in yourself. And I caught that from the podcast too, that you should out that investing in yourself. And then also knowing what you want. You said it, and it's Mikaela?
Mikaela. It's actually Mikaela, and then Mikaela.
Yeah, we're going to do Mikaela.
You know, we're in Canada, right?
Yeah, no, but this is important. We're all international. I know I don't look it, and I was born in Winnipeg.
That's international to BC.
But it is international to BC. It's international to the Philippines. And other places, that Brussels. And then it's Laurent, but it's Laurent.
Yeah.
Laurent Munier.
Yeah.
And it's Mikaela.
Mikaela.
Magalong.
Yes.
Magalong.
Magalong.
Okay, good. We established that. Do you have goals?
Yes.
Have you written those goals down? Of course, you are in finance, so that was part of your education. You were doing that. Also, what I realized is that some of you are still looking for careers, as Laurent is saying, find yourself a job and make more money. There's some of you still looking for those careers, and I want to point out that within this room, some of you do have careers already, and your careers and your passions overlap with each other. That's why these networking events are so very important too, because I was talking to someone who wanted to be in a financial planning situation. It was like, we have two people that are working for companies that do financial planning. I've heard someone that wants to do HR. Well, there's a lot of companies represented. Where's Jan? Where did Jan go? Jan, where are you? There's Jan. Jan's a project manager, wants to do project manager in construction. Put your hand up if you work for a construction firm right now. Yeah, 1, 2. It's right there. Jan, these two. You keep doing that, and that's how you find the jobs and the money. So that was great. Let's move on to another question. What are we've kind of touched on a few of these things, but what would you say one of the biggest barriers of finding financial freedom in Canada is?
Okay. Not only in Canada, I would say in general, finding financial freedom and like financial independence is really an arduous process, and it's not just like that. So I'd say in this specific context of Canada, I'd say number one, one of the biggest challenges that I see is that let me just categorize my answer by dividing it into like categories. One external and one very personal and internal. So external factors. Number one, we live in Canada. We live in Vancouver, right? So number one problem, high cost of living. We are ranked number 3 as the most expensive city in the world? And we are averaging around $2,500 for a two-bedroom apartment. And so that per se is a challenge for us. So in a race, we're kind of starting from -5 in here, right? So that's one external factor. And then the inflation and all those sorts of economic factors as well.
Are you proposing to move to Saskatchewan?
I prefer Yukon and Able say no.
Okay. All right. We're all, you guys ready? After we're done here, we're out.
Yellowknife, let's go.
Yeah, but that's the reality. And then for the personal one, for the internal ones, I'd say the lack of knowledge. I just want to answer this to the first question. Like, financial literacy and knowing the financial concept is very powerful. It could work for your advantage. It could also work for your disadvantage. It could be a challenge as well. So as long as you don't have that financial literacy of the basic concepts of Canadian financial system, it will be a challenge to obtain financial freedom or financial independence. And number three, I kind of touched up as well with this one, but I couldn't stress enough the power of implementing your budget or your implementing or practicing financial freedom in your family. Like, you gotta own it. You gotta want and desire financial independence. So it requires consistent, persistent action for you to get financial independence. Yeah, you got a plan, but if you don't implement your plan and you kind of like always deviate with your plan, then it's not gonna work. All right? It sometimes needs sacrifice as well. So plan and implement, and then assess where you're missing out, and then try to replan again, and then implement again. So the biggest factor for your financial independence and freedom is, I think, discipline. So that's the hardest, especially for young people who is living in a new country. It's sometimes hard to do that. Like, iPhone comes out and I was like, you're searching for it, right? Aritza goes to sale and you're lining up in Canada Place. You know what I mean? It's very hard. And I think as a bonus, I'd say, I talk to a lot of mentors and people. I'm not there yet. I'm working on my financial independence as well. But some of the tip and advice that they're saying, don't get caught with the lifestyle creep. Lauren was saying, like, okay, if you're earning 50K, try to earn 100K. And then 150K, and then 200. But let's not forget that in the equation, there's two sides. There's income and there's expenses, okay? And if you don't watch out with your expenses, it's gonna go in circles. So, yeah.
Well, and Laurent said it earlier, where it's just like, don't spend more than you make.
Yeah.
101. Yeah. Now, there's another, when we talk about budgets, something from the podcast and something that you mentioned is the idea of paying yourself first. Invest in yourself, and then the budget line, it's like pay yourself first. Can you explain what that means and how to actually implement that idea?
100%. This is actually super important, and I'm going to just back it up just a little bit onto that question as well. Some of the stuff that definitely prevents people from attaining whatever you think financial independence is, because it's different for everybody, right? Some people it's this much, some people it's this much, some people it's that much. Some people it's not even money. Some people freedom is, I have the time to do whatever I want. It doesn't matter about the money. But I think some of the stuff that prevents people from doing it is mindset. Yeah. So and lack of education and not fully understanding how the system works, right? So today, right now, there is more money in the world than there has ever been in the history of humanity. In 1 month from now, there's going to be more money than there is today. In 2 months from now, there's going to be more money than there is today. So there is a tremendous amount of money in the world. All you have to do is find a way to get it to you, and however much you want, right? So money it's like water, it flows, right? So you have to be able to get the water to come to you, and then you have to be able to get it to stay, right? So that's the number one thing. So I think people think that money is scarce and that there's not a lot of money and that there's not enough money. The problem right now in Canada and the United States, there's too much money. They don't even know what to do with it. That's why we have inflation. There's too much money. So the problem is not there's not enough money. The problem is you got to figure out how to get it to you and how to keep it, right? So that's the number one thing. And then the education on how do I get it to you, right? So again, with the mindset, right now, It's somebody's job to find you and give you money, right? I was talking here, you're going to be a dentist in 2 years. Somebody at a bank right now is looking for somebody who's going to open a dental office and try to give them as much money as possible. That's somebody's job. They're getting paid to do that. And if they don't do that, they get in trouble and get fired. So somebody's job to give you money. There's so much money out there, right? So don't have a scarce mentality where there's not enough, or it's just, you just don't know how to get it. You just have to get it, right? And I know saying this in 30 seconds, it sounds very easy and da-da-da. You have to work and do it. But like what you were saying, in the podcast, I talk about pay yourself first. Again, this is a mindset shift. So when we're talking about budget and you say, what's your budget? Write down your budget. People always say, rent or mortgage, car payment, cell phone, Amazon, Netflix, clothes, dinner at a restaurant. And then how much do you save? Oh, I save what's left. How much is left? 0 or a little bit. So what happens when this is how you make your budget? Well, in your mind, the bank or your landlord, Netflix, Amazon, Rogers Telus, car company, all of these people are more important than you because you put yourself last. And you paid everybody else before you paid yourself. So you, in your mind and in your actions, are proving that they are more important than you. But who is more important in your future and your success to you? You are the number one most important thing. All of these other people can fuck off before you, right? So what you do to pay yourself first is you say, I make this much per month. I'm just gonna pick a number, $5,000. You make $5,000. I want to save $500 a month. Okay, so when I make my budget, the number one thing on the budget, $500 a month, goes to future Laurent, right? I put the money in today, I take it out in the future. So I am giving money to myself in the future. Then I pay landlord. Then I pay Rogers. Then I pay Amazon, because all of them can wait. Amazon is, what is it? I don't even know. It is $1 trillion company. They make $100 billion a year. Guess what? They can wait for your money. Rogers or Telus or whatever. Rogers, I think, is like a $36 billion company. They can wait for your $100. Pay yourself first. That's how you're going to guarantee that you get ahead. If you pay everybody else and you keep what's left, there's never going to be enough left, right? So you pay yourself first in your budget, and that's savings. You put it on the side, in a separate account, away from you if you spend too much. Put it away. Then pay everybody else. And this is the opposite of what they all tell you, right? The bank tells you, pay me first. Rogers and Telus tell you, pay me first. Car company tells you, pay me first. Guess what? They're the most important for them. They're not the most important for you. You are the most important for you. Pay you first. Then you pay all of that.
That was inspiring. I think, yes, we are, with that spirit in mind, the fact that you are the most important, we want to open it up to questions from you. Yeah, I'm going to come out with the microphone.
But right now, that's what it is. So anything that you can do to make that worth more, that's what's going to get you to where you want to go. So if you're taking, you make 5,000, you save 500, maybe some of that is a bank account, maybe some of that is investment, maybe some of that is a course on how to do, I don't know, whatever you want to do, right? Maybe you want to take Google courses, or you want to take a course on how to edit videos to how to increase your Instagram, or whatever you want to do, right? But figure that out. And again, that goes back to what she was saying. Write down your goals. Whatever that investment is should line up with your goals. It should grow those, right? So don't go, if you said your goal is A, B, C, don't take the money and go put it on F. Put the money on A, B, C.
Yeah, actually, this is one of my favorite financial advice, pay yourself first. So I just want to add something a little tiny bit. You've said enough. But in the context of newcomers, I spoke to a lot of people, and you would not believe the situations that are in. That sometimes it is so hard to really pay yourself first. To the extent that some of the people that I talk to, some of my clients only have $20 after a paycheck. So it's literally living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So what he means is that if in the context of newcomers, it doesn't matter if you're earning $20,000 for now as a part-time job. It doesn't matter if you're earning $50,000. You gotta start the habit of saving. Doesn't matter if it's $20. You gotta pay yourself first. It doesn't. So that it's the habit. It's not the amount. So that when you earn $100,000, you're more capable of saving and paying yourself even more.
Yeah, she's exactly right.
Yeah, it's about the habit, not the amount.
Yeah, if it's $10 a month, it's $10 a month. But do it, right? And you were saying in the context of newcomers, you guys all come from different places. You have different expectations. Your parents might be over there. There might be family, or there's a culture that says what you're supposed to do over here. And obviously you have to honor that. But again, you came here to be a success. And there's a lot of ways to measure success. It's not only money. There's a lot of other things.
That's true.
But part of it, part of how you define success is there's financial, right? So start with, if it's $10 a month, start with $10 a month. And then in 6 months, make it 15, then make it 20. And then when you're earning more, make it more. And also, a lot of people actually, they really enjoy seeing the number go up. So my bank account had 10, now it has 20, now it has 30, now it has 250. So some people like to see the number go up more than they like a latte at Starbucks, right? And I'm not saying don't buy lattes at Starbucks. Like I know there's financial books that say don't buy lattes. Who cares? That $4 that's not gonna make a difference. But get off on that. Like for me, I really don't care about buying anything. The only thing that I want to buy is stock and real estate. Like that, I look at my phone and I want to see the number go up. I care about that more than spending money on shoes or on a new suit or on a watch or on something like that. I would rather take money and buy, more Costco shares than spend money on anything else right now.
That's right. I would say don't buy your latte at Starbucks.
Yes, way better.
In the back, you have a question? Yeah, Ellen.
Yeah, I'm a true believer of delayed gratification. Like
That's important.
that's very important. It's okay to enjoy your money. Of course, you heard it, and I don't mind. It's who am I to dictate to you how do you got to spend your money? But be mindful of how you spend it, right? Reward yourself once in a while. Don't be deprived. I'm a big fan of experience. I'm not a big fan of material things, but I'm a big fan of experiencing life. If I haven't been to a business class, I would probably work for it because that's an experience that can never be bought. So that's kind of my principle. But what I really think it's helpful for me, again, boils down to the number one point that I discussed earlier, budget. Okay, if I'm going to buy this, I'm going to be rewarding myself. Is this in my budget? Is this going to be, it's like, is it a pinch or is it a bucket of money that I'll be taking out of my account? So I live with that principle, and you do kind of use your judgment. And if you find peace, I'm a big believer of peace in my heart. It's like, if you're purchasing something, okay, is it a want and a need? It's a very basic question, and you heard it millions of times, but always ask it, wants or needs? Can I live without this? Do I like shades? Do I have 5 versions of shades already? So yeah, like it's not bad to like reward yourself once in a while, but be frugal, be smart about your expenses. So I'd say that.
Did you say shades?
Shades.
Okay, I think you said cheese at first. I'm like, yeah, no. Also, then I thought was probably my biggest expense and like is large blockable.
So in your question, you asked about what gives you happiness. I think happiness should be within you, regardless of money. People are happy and you can make yourself happy. There's people with $0 in the world that are very, very happy. And there's people with millions of dollars that are not happy and don't know how to be happy. So I think the money is one thing. On the budgeting, you should know what your expenses are. My version of budget is make more money. That's my version of the budget, right? It's and get there, right? It's very, very possible. And again, I know that a lot of you guys are coming from different places that have different values on money, and you've grown up in a way that teaches you about money that's different. And in a lot of places, maybe you don't talk about money. Maybe it's rude. Maybe only the man gets money and the woman doesn't get money, or maybe only your parents get money and you don't get money, or you don't talk about it, or you're not allowed to do it. So here in Canada, a lot of those restrictions are gone, right? If you go to the bank, it doesn't matter if it's you, or you. If they're going to give you a loan, all of that stuff is gone, right? When you want to earn money, all of that stuff here is gone. If you want to invest your money, all of that stuff here is gone. So that's one of the great things about being in this system, that the opportunity is unlimited, right? There's literally trillions of dollars. Like the human brain cannot even comprehend how much is 1 trillion, right? It's too many. So it's there. You just have to get it. And you have to get it to you, and you have to keep it in some sort of way. And then ideally, you can make it grow. That's the cycle. Again, another book that if you haven't read, highly recommend, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Really breaks down the difference between living this way and living this way. And it's a different way of thinking. Again, if you do Rich Dad, Poor Dad, free PDF, it's online for free. But buy the book, pay the author.
Yeah.
It's your number one way of saving money. Don't pay the artist.
Yes. You know what?
This is what Canadian entertainers are just running.
Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote that book, is very, 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 very rich and very well off. We've actually interviewed him on our podcast. He's a crazy dude. He does very well for himself. Some people really like him. Some people really don't like him. But the book works. The thing that you do tomorrow, whatever you guys are going to go do tomorrow, whether you get a job at place A or you get a job at place B or you try to start something, that doesn't have to be the thing that you do for your entire life, right? So I think number one, the biggest thing, never let your income be zero. Never don't have income coming in. Even if that means you go do a job that you think is below you, have money come in. Always be working towards the bigger next one and have a plan and a goal for that. So if you're doing it in the sense of having a job and you're going to go work for a company or you're going to go work for somebody, again, it's somebody is getting paid to make you better, right? So there are career coaches, there are HR professionals, there are recruiters that will teach you how to position whatever you're doing now to get to the next step. And they will also teach you, because they've done this 1,000 times. Okay, you're in a situation like this, you're making this much. If you do A, B, C, you can go here and make more. And so there's career paths. Depending on the company you go to, right, you might work for a small company where there's 20 people working there. There's not like, okay, well, you start here and then you do this and then you do this and you fill out a report and you do this. You go work at a bigger company, like across the street here, Microsoft, they have hundreds of thousands of employees. There's a very structured way that you're going to move up that ladder, right? So you're going to start here, and then you're going to go here, and then you're going to go here, and then you're going to go here. And it's difficult to change the trajectory, right? Or if you want to go be in an accounting firm, like, you know, you're first an associate, and then you're a manager, and then you're a senior manager, and then you're a partner, right? And you don't control going from associate to partner. You just can't do that. You have to go through the steps. In a smaller company, you have way more flexibility, because they won't have that hierarchy. You might not get paid as much at the beginning. You might have more fulfillment over the long term. You might be able to take an equity stake in the company. You might be able to buy in, or maybe you can work and earn shares, whereas you can't do that at a law firm until you're the partner or an accounting firm or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways. And I think really, again, it's what we said at the beginning. You need to have your goals and you need to write them down. So one thing that helps with me for how I write my goals down, I like to do it on real paper with a real pen, not typing. I like to write it down. I take a book, blank notebook, and I go outside. I don't do it inside my desk. I don't do it in my room or in my house or anything like that. I walk outside, especially on a beautiful day like today. For me, this might be different for you guys, however you do it, whatever, sometimes when you sit down and you write and you have your best ideas and you're just like, yes. So whatever that situation is for you, try to recreate that situation and then write down, today I'm graduating from UCW, right? Or last month or December or somebody. If I come back to this alumni meeting, right? So today, July 11th, 2024. If we have this meeting again, July 11th, 2025, in 1 year, what has happened where this was a great year? What has to happen? So write that down. So start in the future and then come back. So say, okay, if in 2029, where am I? Where am I working? Where do I live? How much am I earning? Do I have kids? Do I even live in Vancouver anymore? I don't know. What kind of car do I drive? What kind of clothes am I wearing? What do I like to do? Do I go to the movies? Do I go skiing? Do I go, do I go to theater? Do I, play volleyball on the beach? So start from in the future and then go backwards. So say, okay, if I'm going to be doing this in 2029, what do I have to do in 2028 so that can happen? And what do I have to do in 2027 so that can happen? What do I have to do in 2026 so that can happen? What do I have to do today so that when I get there in 2029, all of this has happened, right? Because you can't just arrive at your goal. You have to work towards it. There's going to be milestones along the way, and there's going to be things you have to do, right? So I can't answer the question of, do you want to go get a job or start a business? Only you can answer that. I think you already know. I think you just have to let yourself do it. It's in there somewhere. It's inside you. You have to find it and you have to let it know. And there's somebody who can help you do it. There's life coaches, there's career coaches, there's business coaches. There's probably career counselors inside UCW. Enoch over there has got the system for this. Talk to these guys. Talk to 100 people. You'll figure it out.
Okay, you pretty much said everything, but just want to add something. I just want to share something that I really do. Put your visions on a vision board. That works.
Yeah.
So put what you foresee in the future in a vision board and put the reasons why you want to do that. Put your inspirations on that as well, because what he's saying is saying it in 2 minutes. It sounds so easy, but reality is you will be motivated to do it, but day one it's a punch in your gut already. So it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be challenging out there, and you want to go back, look at your vision board and see and visit it and just remember your whys while you're doing it. So just basically start from there.
And you have to do less, not more. You have to do less things, more of it. So out of what you're doing, have you guys heard of the Pareto principle? So 80% of your result is going to come from 20% of your effort, or whatever the 80-20 division for, it works for almost everything. Out of all of those things that you're doing, 10 or 20% of those things is going to get you 80% of the results. 80% of what you're doing is only going to get you 20% of the results. Try to figure out which is in the 20 and which is in the 80. Get rid of the 80% of what you're doing that's getting you 20% results, and only do these ones that are going to get you the maximum results. And again, I don't know you, I don't know anything about you, so it's hard to give, like, what are you trying to do? Like, what's your goal? Say, again, if we're here in 1 year from now, what do you want to do? Where do you want to be? If you get a client, that proves it. If you get 2 clients, that proves it more. If you get 3 clients, that proves it more. If you get 200,000 clients, that really, really proves it. Right? Because if you want to get money, money comes from sales. Right? Research, hypothesis, all this stuff. Unless you're building something, like sometimes, software companies, you could work on it for years before you launch. But you still need somebody to like, the way you prove it is by somebody paying you for it, or somebody signing up. Or you could like build an email list, or start to generate a social media profile where you say, okay, my hypothesis has 15,000 followers. There's probably something there. If I have my hypothesis and I'm telling everyone, and I have 3 followers, my mom, my sister, and my brother, maybe it's not a good hypothesis. We don't know, right? But if you can get a client, or if you can get somebody to sign up for an email list, or you can get somebody to click a button that says, yes, I will go fund me this later when you're ready, get something that will prove it. The Starbucks thing, don't quit. You need money to come in. Don't ever let the money stop, because you'll put yourself in a really bad situation. Don't ever not pay your rent. That'll put you in a really bad situation. Outside of that, if this software thing is what you need to do, maybe supplement your income. Maybe, I don't know, you're designing websites for people on the side or something like that, or you did a mobile app for somebody. Do that, get paid, but put the majority of your effort in the software and try to get 1 client.